I recently did a video, which you might have seen, on a Minolta Riva. I think it was a 30-60. Now, this camera is almost opposite to that camera. It's still a Riva, but where the camera I talked about before was very, very basic, this camera, the Aviva 160, not a Riva, this Riva Zoom 160 is quite a different beast. You can see immediately the snazzy champagne colour of the body, and this is a very well built camera. As soon as you pick it up, it feels like you're picking up something of quality. And there's a bit more to this camera than first impressions. Yes, it's a nice compact, and if I switch it on at the back, we have a on-off switch here, and by pressing it I then activate the zoom, and the zoom, as you can see, is here, and it's up to 160 millimeters. So that's from from 37.5. It would be nice to have it a little bit brighter, but we haven't. It's 37.5 to 160. So there's a lot of good use that you could put this camera to. You could actually even do some wildlife with this camera and the telephoto lens. But this camera isn't just about this 160 zoom lens. If I look here and point this out here, you might see that it says A area AF. Now, the area AF, not sure whether this will pick it up. Yes, it will pick it up. You can see that as I change the AF button, I get a different symbol. And there's a target area, which means it will click onto something and stay on that target. There's an automatic, and I believe there's a sport. So you have these three automatic modes, and it's quite different to get these modes actually on a camera. It actually makes the whole art of automatic focusing, which can be brilliant and we all rely on it, but this actually tells you, it gives you an option. Plus, in the viewfinder, it will show you, when you actually half press the shutter, it will show you the area you are focusing on. So, and you can actually alter that area. Plus, we have optional red eye, we have a self timer, we have a multi burst frame. So this is a camera with several options. Plus, we have the information in the viewfinder. We have whether, if I just half press this, green for go, red for problem. And as I said, you get these frames, and it shows you, and actually when it's going to focus on something, it's looking at the camera first of all, and it is then focusing on the camera and the frames close up. So if you've got a head, it will actually close up to the head. Plus, if it thinks you are getting a bit close to the object, it has a power out line to give you warning. And I have read somewhere, but I'm not sure if this is absolutely correct, that it can tell the point of focusing by reading your eye. So as I said, this is the front of the camera. You can see the lens, obviously the name. On the back we have the flash and the red eye and self timer, on, off, and burst. So it feels a very nice camera. It was certainly very nice to use. when I've used some of these compact cameras before, I'm thinking of the Nikon Tut Lite, which is a very similar camera to look at, but I was very disappointed with the Nikon Tut Lite. I wonder if I'm going to be disappointed with this camera. I've just developed the film. I haven't scanned it yet. I'm just about to scan it, and we will find out how it performed. It was in the little town of Shillingstone in North Dorset that I tested this camera. It has an old station, and there's a tank engine, and I must say I was delighted with how this camera performed. The lens was very sharp. This is using it at right angle, and there's no problem with the focusing. The exposure's fine. It was a bright Saturday morning when I took this camera out on this little trip. The station is absolutely fascinating. It has hardly any track. It has, I don't know, about 50 metres of track, if that, but it's full of really keen volunteers working on the railway, and it is in the heart of the Dorset countryside as well. Although you can't see the countryside there, all you can see is a little bit of the industrial estate on the small town, but there's a good signalling box there, and as I said, this camera proved to be good to use. I then went to Sturminster Newton, which is nearby, and walked on where the railway was originally. And the water meadows were really flooded on this Saturday. There's been, as you know, a lot. I'm speaking in April 2024, and there's been an awful lot of rain, and I'm going to hopefully go back to this walk in the summer and take some more photographs showing what it actually looks like when it's not flooded. This isn't supposed to be a lake, those are supposed to be fills, and I was actually going to do a circular walk, but it just wasn't appropriate because the path was completely submerged. But the camera, getting back to the camera, the zoom is really effective. Here the zoom is zoomed into 160, and I'm not quite sure how it's doing it, but the camera is as steady as a rock, because quite often on these high-end zooms you get camera shake, but I didn't with this. I was really, I have to admit, I was impressed. So this is the second Minolta I've tried recently, and both of them, the cheaper end model and the dearer end model, were excellent. I mean, this is easily a camera you could keep in the car. It's general use. It's nicely made. As I said, the focusing is slightly different to have these choices. I didn't really actually use many of the choices, but it was a nice camera to use. You can see how flooded it is here. I'm looking forward to having another go with it. I might even do the same walk when it's not flooded. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.